Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball, and I'm into week 42 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. We are ready to begin the season, but we're going to look over a few things first before we get things underway. First off, some updates to the team information and our history. There was an upgrade to the stadium this year. We added 2,500 new seats. Capacity is now at 5,800. It's still a pretty small stadium in comparison to others, but it's progress. The team prestige rose from 7 to 12. Which was actually up, I think, at 13 a couple seasons back, but we really struggled for just a couple seasons, and the team prestige just plummeted right on down. The conference prestige is at 18, and I have been promoted. I am now in Conference M. The academics stays the same, and the facilities are still at a C. I looked for a budget upgrade this last year, could not get it. It's about the third year in a row that I've asked and have not received. We remain right about 50 games over 500 after some mediocre records the last few seasons. But we did manage our second CBI tournament appearances last year, and I've still got quite a bit of budget left for recruiting, but it doesn't matter. I've grabbed my 3 recruits for next year. All scholarships are now filled. I had already picked up Brian Wormley, if you watched the last episode, the recruiting special, and we were really close to signing Greg Fitz. It took 2 more weeks, but he did sign, and his rank has actually come back up. He's up to 210 now. And then we targeted another power forward. The next one on the list was Nick Eisenhower, and he signed. He's the number 63 recruit, so all 3 guys in the top 50 among recruits throughout the entire nation, including a top 25 player and A rank player in Brian Wormley. So I've got my guys. I'm all set. Recruiting is done for the year. Now, quick look at our history so we can get some updates on the team history and where we are. Here you can see where those struggles have been after a 25-7 and being ranked 20th in the nation. My first 2 years being ranked, and then the last 3 years have been a struggle. I was 16-15. I made it to the CIT, but did not receive promotion. And then after a 15-15 season, with an absolutely horrendous non-conference record in the 2029 season, I actually ended up getting promoted because my conference record was just enough to be in a long tie for third place, and I got to the, I think, final of the conference tournament, but lost, and that was enough to give me the tiebreaker and get promoted. And then this last season, even though I was just 18-14, you can see that's still the worst record outside of the last 2 years, dating back to the 2021 season. So the worst record of the decade, besides the last few years, but it was enough to get automatic promotion from third place. And I got an invitation to the CBI tournament. First time that I've been to the CBI tournament, and I got all the way to the semifinal after just a couple wins. Not as many teams in the CBI tournament as there are to the others, where I lost in the semifinal but had a good run. Now, Courtney Perry, who was the number 335 ranked recruit nationally a couple years back, 2 years back now, last year as a freshman, made Freshman of the Year and All-Conference first team. And he really came out of nowhere because he started the season pretty slow. Wise and McCamey had been the big ones last season that got most of the attention. And Forney, who was the number 70 recruit as a sophomore last year, had a really good year. And then Perry just got better and better and better as the year went on. One quick update, Travis Snow, who was the number 32 ranked recruit, the highest one I've ever had until Brian Wormley, if he holds his rank, came in, and just an update on him. Travis Snow is going to redshirt this year, partly because wasn't quite ready to go, and Perry is doing a really good job, and Forney doing a really good job, meaning he wasn't going to get a lot of minutes, but his GPA dropped. Last year was a 2.4, and I was actually planning on having a talk with him about his academics here at the beginning of the year just to pick that up so he doesn't get in trouble. Well, he got in trouble. Dropped below 2.0 and reached academic ineligibility for the first half of this season, but I'm redshirting him, so he's got time to improve it. He's got a tutor to improve his academics before next year. Everybody else is in the clear. The only one who's anywhere near anything is Jamal Small with a 2.6, but he should be okay. Also redshirting this season, I should have redshirted last year, but I forgot to, is Andre Anderson. So Paul Floyd's my only power forward, which means his backup is going to come from the centers, and probably Travis Butler. Quick look at the ratings. My walk-ons, my backups, 0.5s, not worried about them, but getting into everyone else, a couple 1.0s, Andre Anderson, who's redshirting, and John Mapp. So he'll be kind of at the end of the bench. Chris Smith and Tafflinger. I had high hopes for Tafflinger to improve, but it's not happening so much. And then we get into a pretty solid depth chart. David Wise back up to a 2.0 rating after having a Freshman of the Year award last year, sophomore slump, had a 1.0 rating. He's back to a 2.0 rating and almost identical to McCamey, but McCamey's given a 2.5 rating. Butler's got a 2.0 rating. Snow has a 2.0 rating, but he's redshirting the year and ineligible anyway. But here we go. McCamey, 2.5. Burton, point guard, 2.5. And a sixth man. Jamal Small, starter, 3.0. Paul Floyd, starting, 3.5. Perry has a 3.5. And Forney has a 3.5 rating this year. This is the best looking squad that I've had in the last cycle at the least. So over this 4-year stretch, by far the best group that I've had. So I have high expectations for this year. My goal is to get ranked, but we have a really tough first half of the non-conference schedule. It's going to be difficult to come out of it any better than about 3-3, and really my expectation is about 2-4, and it's possible we could be 1-5 or even 0-6 through the first 6 games. Schedule going to be a bit easier after that. My depth chart is already set, but I need to get my rotation set, and then we'll be ready to start the first game of the season. All right, so Forney is perfect, 30 minutes, and I actually might cut that down a couple because Greg Burton is our best backup, and he should have more than 10 minutes. So let's try to get him a little more. Let's give him 2 minutes right there. And maybe 2 in the second half somewhere, like right there. All right. That takes care of the point guard position. And Perry set for 30. And his backup is... Let's see. Who's his backup? It should not be Curtis. No, Curtis has 0. So is it Smith? Smith has 10 minutes. Smith doesn't need any more than 10 minutes, actually. So what I'm going to do here is Burton's actually going to take a couple of minutes away from Smith and a couple from Perry. So let's see here, like right there. And then I want to give a couple minutes back to Forney. And we'll go, say, right There. Okay, that puts him at 28. Perry's at 28. But Smith has 10. And Burton has 14. I'm going to give Burton 16 and give Smith 8. So I need to figure out where to take these minutes away from. Smith. Oh, that was already the second half. Okay. Smith. There's Smith, but there's Burton. So let's go first half. And Smith. There we go. Nope, Burton's already in both of those. So maybe it does need to be second half. Smith and Burton. Okay, how about I give Forney those minutes off. And then we'll put Smith there. So that means Forney needs to go there. Okay, that should do it. So that's guards. Now, Taflinger has 10 minutes. Map has 0. So Map should get a couple minutes anyway over Taflinger. So why don't we go right there? Okay, and Small, a little bit high on that. Just 2 minutes away. So we'll take 2 minutes from Small and give them to Taflinger. And we'll do that right there. On to power forward. Paul Floyd's our starter. He's got 32 minutes. I think I'm okay with 28. Butler's going to get a couple minutes. Power forward. Over Floyd. But not the end of the game. But that's a long stretch. Why don't we give Butler there? And then 16's good for him, I think. But I still need to take a couple minutes, and it might be Wise. Because right now, Wise has 30. That's way too much. Because McCamey... McCamey got 0 minutes. Oh my goodness. He's my starter. Supposed to be my starter. So let's go first half. And we're going to flip this. Wise is going to stay in as a backup for about 14 minutes. But he's also going to play power forward for a few minutes. So yeah, I see Butler shouldn't have the minutes here. So who's my backup? Martin? Who's Martin? I don't even have Martin. What am I missing? Oh, Scott Martin. Scott Martin has 4 minutes. That's the walk-on Scott Martin. He doesn't need to be scheduled for those. Wise needs to come in for that. Okay, so Wise is at 28 at the moment, but it's McCamey who needs a bunch of minutes here. So McCamey. Okay, I want McCamey here at the back half. Okay, so my post players are going to need a pretty big shakeup here. Yeah, that's good for McCamey there. Second half. McCamey. I'll let Wise start the second half, and then we'll go McCamey here. Ooh, no. And then McCamey is definitely going to finish the game out. Okay, so McCamey's at 22 right now. That's still not quite enough. Special. Okay, McCamey should be in there. So McCamey's just 22 minutes right now. That's a bit short. I want to give him a couple more. And right there. Okay, so that's 24. So McCamey's good. And Floyd has 30. We'll take away a couple minutes from him. And it's Wise who's definitely going to pick those up. So Wise is going to pick up 2 minutes over Floyd. This might be a good spot for that right there. Start of the second half. Come in, get us started, and then Wise will stay on. Yes. Alright, so Wise is now at 16. And Cammy's where I want him. Let's see, who's our others? No, not Burton. Butler. Butler has 10. I'm okay with that. And Scott Martin, 2 minutes scheduled. That's okay. But maybe I should just take that away and give that to Butler. So Butler's going to take Martin's minutes wherever they're hiding. There he is. So that'll be Butler. That's better. Okay. Rotation set. And we head to the first week of the season. First game is South Carolina. It's going to be on the road. I think I already deleted the scouting report on that one, so we'll just have to go into it. I suppose we could look at the schedule. South Carolina is... Oh, it doesn't show on here. But there are quite a few conferences above me, and it's a road game. 5 of my first 6 games are on the road. That's the main reason why I'm really worried. Last year we won, 3 games? 4 games on the road the entire year, and only one of those was during the non-conference schedule. All right, season opener. All right, so South Carolina, the Gamecocks, this will be our opening game to the season. The only change to my starting roster is McCamey is now starting over Wise. But in terms of minutes, it's pretty close. McCamey's playing about 2 minutes, maybe 4 minutes more than a season ago, and Wise is playing about 4 minutes less than where they finished up at the end of the season. So very, very little change. Essentially, I have the same squad I had from a year ago with another year's experience and development, and the team is better than they were. But we're playing a tough team on the road that is definitely a higher division than us. So this is going to be a tough game to win. So coming out ahead in the first few minutes is important, and we're doing well so far. We had a 10-5 lead there for a moment. But they do take their first lead, and that's already enough for almost for a timeout. We got just 2 points in quite a stretch there. Oh, 2 timeouts back to back. I only meant to take 1 there, but it did settle things down just for the time being. So scoring has slowed. See, rebounds favor us, +2. Turnovers is -3. Shooting's about the same. We're 3 from 3. Beyond the arc, that's a good start there. And the game's relatively close towards halftime, but here they are pulling away a little bit. It's 38-30 at the moment, but we get it right back. 7 quick scores. Look at the individual performances. McCammy's got 6 points, 3 boards right now. Forney and Perry both at mid-range. Smith has 6 off the bench. We're within 4 halfway through the second half. We're starting to build a little bit of momentum here, but it seems to be shifting back and forth, so neither team pulling away. We're -4 on rebounds, +2 on turnovers. Their shooting has jumped to 56%, so if I'm going to win this game, it's going to come down to getting some defensive stops. Unfortunately, they're not shooting well on threes, but I'm down by 9 here with 3 minutes to play. That was our last 30-second timeout to get us back within. We need to use our final timeout here. 30 seconds. Looks like we are going to lose this one, and that's final 85-78. Not a bad performance, but just 78 points. 46% shooting, so we did do well. We did end up -8 on rebounds, +6 turnovers. We did well from the free throw line, but only got 14 attempts. Great job shooting the three-pointers, but we cannot overcome the Gamecocks in the end, as they scored pretty well. 56% from the field. That's what hurt us. We just could not stop them, and as many divisions as they are ahead of us. This was going to be a difficult game. All right, we'll finish the week off. This is my only home game in the stretch, and Miami is quite a few divisions ahead of us, so this is not going to be an automatic win. Like I said, I might have a much better roster this year, but this first 6-game stretch is incredibly difficult. We do get the win at home against Miami.
You have new mail.
That was going to be important in this early stretch of the season, as my next 4 games in a row are all going to be on the road. And I get letter of intents from all 3 of my recruits, and all 3 should be clear. Let's see. Upcoming Dayton Conference F, and Washington State is kind of that more winnable one in terms of viewing the report. I've got heavy favorites on quite a few positions, which is nice to have, to finally be that far along. Now, what did I want to look at? Recruiting. Let's take a look at those 3 guys real quick. See what it is that we're going to be getting for next season before we continue on to our next week. So Brian Wormley, his ratings, great scorer, great passing, really good rebounder, strong defender, great at stealing, great for the outside shooting, not good athleticism, but he will need a backup who can play. But overall, he is an A and a high school senior. Eisenhower is the next highest ranked player. B overall, good athleticism, great shooting, okay defender, okay passing, good scorer. So not outstanding attributes, but he's been in that top 100 recruits throughout. And it helps that he was a local recruit. And again, location, academics. I do a really good job at recruiting those. Looks like this guy's gone off the list. We'll take him out of there. And here is Fitz. So top 4 guys. I got 3 of them, at least on what's left of that list. Again, academics, location. I easily grabbed these guys. Overall, only a C. But there's some things I really, really like about this guy. One, he can score. And for a center, he's okay with the ball. An A for rebounding. Really, really like that he's a strong rebounder. and he can score inside. Not a good free throw shooter, but for a center, what are you to expect? So I think this is going to be a pretty good recruit for us. I think Fitz will do quite well. He's gone. This is kind of the just in case I lose these guys to academic ineligibility. All right, let's head back out there and get through the next week. The next 2 weeks are all road games for us. Wisconsin, Green Bay, many divisions above us. It's going to be a difficult game to grab a win in. Dropped 1 and 2. Next up is Tennessee Tech. Their division, I think, wasn't quite as high, but they are 2-0, and it is on the road. Be another difficult game to come out ahead of. We get the win, though. There's our first road win of the year against a team that was not easy by any means. So we go to 2-2. The next 2 games, are on the road. See, South Carolina 4-0, but they're Conference Q. Check out the report there. And yeah, 3 positions favor us, the others are equal. And T-Neck, Conference O, another strong start, but Conference O. Washington State is Conference N. Dayton is Conference F, but 0-2. So I've actually got an okay chance in these next 4 games coming up here. Two road games. My hope is that we can split these 2 so we can at least stay at 3-3. I think that would be a pretty good start to a really difficult first 6 games to the season, with 5 of them on the road and 5 of them against higher conference teams. 4 of those against much higher conference teams. And we get the win at Dayton. So we begin the month of December. 3-2 record. And of those first 6, I really thought the most winnable one would be this road game at Washington State. It's the only team on that list that was below us in conference. It's a road game, though. In the last 3 seasons, really, road games have been a real challenge for me. And it is a loss. So we go to 3-3, but we did split them. Just kind of the opposite way of what I thought might be the case.
You have new mail.
But that toughest stretch of the season, we were 1-0 at home. We're 2-3 on the road against 5 of those teams being higher divisions. So it was a good stretch. Next up, South Carolina Upstate. They're a 5-1 team, but it's a home game. We already looked at the report on those 2. Both of them really good, outstanding records. Portland State 0-6 right now, so that should be a good game for us. It is on the road, though. So the next 2 games are at home, and then Portland State on the road. All 3 are winnable, but none of them are going to be necessarily easy, just because South Carolina Upstate is 5-1 right now, Conference Q, and T-Neck at least a week ago was 3-0. And only a couple divisions below in Conference O. Portland State, it's the rival, and we're on the road. So even though they're 0-6, might not make that one easy on us. We'll go ahead and watch that game as it is the rivalry game. You can see I don't have massive advantages here. All right, this week we'll sim, and then we'll watch the Portland State game the week after. My RPI right now is looking good at 52. As this schedule gets a little bit easier at this point in the non-conference schedule, if I can string together some wins, we might see that RPI climb, and I could see myself ranked for the first time in a really, really long time. I've only had 2 seasons where I've ever been ranked. We get the win there. T-Neck is up next. They are 5-1 at this point in the season, and only a couple divisions below us, but we do have home court advantage. And there's another win. So 5-3 now. Definitely the best record I've had in the last few seasons at this point, despite a pretty tough schedule. So the team is looking really good this year, and I'm loving the potential strength of next year's squad, as well as I'm only losing 1 starter this season. Right now, Winston McCamey is our leading scorer. Kenyon Forney has 4 assists per game, so the crazy numbers last year from Perry are not quite being matched at the moment. Paul Floyd, the one guy who I am losing, grabbing 6.3 rebounds per game, 1.5 blocks per game. That will be a little difficult to replace, but Greg Fitz, strong rebounder, so hopefully he can help us with that. And McCamey shouldn't be too far behind him. He should have about 5 a game. Okay, Western Kentucky is that next one. Conference G. I don't know if we're going to be home or away on that one. RPI now 28. Okay, Portland State. It's a road game. Again, road games aren't automatic. We will watch this one, though, as it is that rivalry game. If you haven't watched this series throughout, my fantasy team, the Olympic Decathlon Rings, they are based out of the city in which I was born in, which is Portland, Oregon. So that's why we have a natural rivalry in the Portland State Vikings. The Pillagers. Alright. Yeah, for a long time, Portland State, the home team won almost every single game in this rivalry. But in recent years, as I've pulled further and further away from them, it's been a little bit easier to get the road wins. It was a home win last season, but we can see early on here, we're pulling away a bit. It was 15-6 there. 11, 13-point lead here. So as we start to stretch the lead out, so we are to that point where we are a much better team than Portland State this year. And it's shown as we are pulling away early on. So we'll keep an eye on the stats as Courtney Perry has 14 points on 4 of 4 shooting early on in this one. No assists though, so it's really weird that he had so many assists last year, at right about 6 per game, and doesn't seem to be getting the assists this year. And he's essentially playing around the same players he was a year ago. Some of the minute-by-minute lineups aren't quite the same, and they've closed that gap on us a bit. I'm going to go ahead and burn a timeout and try to get things corrected again, make sure they don't get all the way back into this one, as we're up just 5 with 12 minutes to play. My shooting not going well. Forney just 1 of 8 shooting right now. I'm 34% from the field. They're shooting better than I am, and they have the lead. There you go. It's a road game. Go ahead and use a full timeout here when I get a chance. Come on. There you go. Down 5 with 4 minutes to play. I'm going to slow it down for the last few minutes. Still down 3, so Courtney Perry misses that jump shot. 5 of 10 shooting in the game now, 16 points. Definitely our leader today. McCamey just 4 points. Only 2 field goal attempts total. We are getting killed on the rebounding as we're -8 on rebounds with 2 minutes to go, down just 2 points. Turnovers were +10, but I am shooting really, really poorly today. And I think part of that could be my best field goal average guy isn't getting the attempts today, while Jamal Small is shooting really poorly. Timeout. 13 seconds. They have the ball. Foul him. No! Oh! There you go. It's a road loss. Oh, what a disappointing game, as we were up comfortably and we just shot so poorly. They had the ball and took a last-second shot, and we didn't foul. There you go. 3 seconds left when they finally took a shot. That needed to be a foul. Poor game management by the players on the court there at the end of the game to not go for the foul to get the ball back in our hands to make something happen. A defensive stop there does not do us much good because we get the rebound and there was 1 second left on the clock by the time we got the ball. So, A, I couldn't get a timeout taken, and B, we had no chance to take a shot. And it cost us the game. We lose by 1. What a low-scoring game. 57-56. And our rival had our number today. Absolutely hammered us in the early part of the second half there. And so we drop a game. Got 2 games left in the non-conference schedule. At least I think so. Western Kentucky up next. It's a home game. They're just 4-6, and I think I passed them in division recently, a few seasons back. So this is one of those games that we should be favored in.
You have new mail.
Oh yeah, that RPI just plummeted 50 spots down with that loss. Okay, we get the win there. Next up is South Florida. So that last non-conference game is a home one at least. So after that difficult stretch early on, things got easier. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that win against Portland State that we should have had. Bit of a disappointing loss there. But at least it keeps the rivalry alive because it was starting to look to the point where Portland State was too easy for us and we might need to find a new rival. And let's make sure this is, it is a non-conference game. Be heading into the conference games here shortly. All right, on to game day. I'd like to get this one. 7-4 would be a nice start. It would be something we haven't done in a long time. And we do. We got the win. Whoa! Look at that. Our first conference game. Georgia Southern is 10-1 right now. 10-1.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
If there's ever a tough road game in conference, that's it right there. Okay, so RPI bounces back a little bit at 63 now, but we've still got a long ways to go if we are going to be ranked this season. That loss to Portland State, big difference. We'd be 8-3, and that RPI would be somewhere around 25. And we could see a ranking near after, especially a win against Georgia Southern. Can't talk all of a sudden. Georgia Southern, who's got an outstanding record. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings right now and see how everyone fits in. So Georgia Southern, clearly best record. Appalachian State also 9-2. So after they started their run, once we beat them on the final day of last season, went on to win the conference tournament and got to the NCAA where they lost the play-in game. Pretty good start to the year, but they had 6 home games and they're 6-0 at home. But look at that, Georgia Southern 4-1 on the road, undefeated at home. So those are going to be some difficult games. We are undefeated at home at 5-0, and VMI also. So the other team that came up with us. And that seems to be about it. We're 7-4. VMI is 7-4. Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, and Stephen F. Austin is 7-4. All right, we're going to do 2 more games, so 1 more week on the calendar. We'll see how these go, and then we'll call it an episode. So this could be my most difficult game of the entire season right here. This is going to be an incredibly difficult game to get a win. Of course, I have no idea what Georgia Southern's non-conference schedule looks like, who they're playing and who they're not. They could have a much easier schedule than I had. Theoretically, I should be 8-3, but hey, I lost Portland State. They beat us. And there it is. Oh, I got a win. So Georgia Southern goes down. Just their second loss of the year. Next up is Utah State at home, 6-6. Now, that one looks like the kind of game we should win. It's a home game and a team with a mediocre 500 record. And there you go, 9-4, 2-0 in conference, and what might be our most difficult test of the conference schedule.
You have new mail.
Already out of the way and looking good. So the only teams to win both of their first 2 games: Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, and myself, and Georgia Southern. 0-2 in conference. Makes you wonder who they played in their non-conference schedule to go from 10-1 to 0-2. All right, so the other teams that are 2-0 right now, mediocre records there. But of course, you never know where they were playing if both games were at home, for instance. But definitely a good start to the conference schedule. And that RPI just jumped to 29 after beating Georgia Southern. Not ranked though. Only 9-4 right now. You can see that it's going to take more than that. The teams, the lower divisions. Actually, I don't even see any. Cincinnati Jesuit, maybe 12-3. Definitely going to have to string some wins together. And it's Emmitsburg. Emmitsburg has outpaced us in promotions over the last few years. We had caught up to Emmitsburg, and then they had gotten an additional promotion when I stayed at that division a couple years ago. So we've now caught back up to them, and it is a road game at Emmitsburg for that next game. So that's not going to be easy by any means. Let's take a quick look at the stats as we wrap things up. So, top scorer, Winston McCamey, 21 minutes per game is all he's played. 49%, so that's right about where he was shooting last year. Free throws, not quite as good as last year, but scoring's up good half a point from a year ago. And Wise still getting 8 points a game off the bench. And it's still Perry and Forney. So, same players. And it looks like Paul Floyd. Do I have an injury? I missed an injury. I did. I missed an injury, but Paul Floyd, he's at 93% in just one day till he's back. Back to those stats. He hasn't missed a game, so he's doing okay on that part. But David Wise, again, top guy off the bench. Greg Burton, also doing pretty well off the bench. And then Travis Butler. So you can see the clear favorites in that. Chris Smith, 7.5 minutes. I'm surprised he's getting that much, but maybe that's because of blowouts. John Mapp, yeah, he's getting some time. So everybody's played a little bit this season. I have years where certain players don't get off the bench at all, but the full depth is participating this year. Forney, though, that's kind of hurting, just 38%. That's one of the reasons why my field goal percentage is so low. Let's see, rebounding. Paul Floyd. Yeah, McCamey has been second best. And Perry. So it's Perry, really, who stepped up this year when it... Oh, no, it is. It was Perry last year as well. Okay. So that's about the same. And assists, he's second. But Forney has stepped it up this year. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. And remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.